Okay, sorry, I was just singing along to old midis that I found. To the point of the video, it's Hope's birthday, and it's also Max's birthday. Some of you may not remember Max. So, oh, look at them. I miss them. So, that's Hope, my most recent dog, to pass away, and I consider him my soul dog. And then Max, my first little dog. So, Hope, Maltese Chihuahua, rescue dog, so we don't know for sure. Max, Chinese Crested powder puff. He came through the fence of the neighbor who used to be a cat breeder, kept him outside, which, like, how could you keep a little thing like that outside? We used to have a fence that had, like, a hole in it. And so when we got our Labrador, our first Labrador, Allie, not Marley, even longer ago, Allie, some of you will have seen her videos. When we got her as a puppy, little Max used to come through the hole in the fence and they would play together, and he really loved coming over. And then, we would block up the hole when he goes home so that he wouldn't come through at the wrong time. But then one day there was a really, really bad storm, and his owners didn't let him inside, and he just stayed at the hole in the fence, really sad, wanting to come to us. So of course we let him in, and he stayed the night with us. And yeah, I think eventually the owner realized he was happier with us, and so that's how we ended up with Max. Hope was more of an intentional rescue, and we got really lucky though, because that particular rescue took in pregnant dogs, and so I think he was born there. We never saw the mum. We don't know if she even survived, so he may have been hand-raised. But yeah, kind of like, they're kind of both rescues in a way. Anyway, both little dogs. So that's introduction. But yeah, Hope's birthday, and also Max's birthday. Like, what a coincidence. So, like, how many years? Like, more than a decade apart. And they just happen to have the same birthday. But yeah, so, got my, like, Triton is currently in my bathroom because he's a snow dog, so he loves that cool kind of environment. But yeah, I thought I wouldn't post any of his videos today because it's their birthday, not his, and I'm trying not to be sad and so on. Also, yes, I have cat hat on. This one is actually more of a wolf hat, I think, but people call it a cat hat. Anyway, the reason I'm wearing this one is because when I am training Triton, I've got a little treat bag. Oh my god. Thankfully he doesn't know the word treat yet, but it's easier to have this keeping my head warm than the one that has the things that he likes to chew and they kind of get in the way, so that's why I'm wearing this one. Okay, so it's their birthday. Something I wanted to talk about is, yes, I have been posting a lot of Triton videos, in part because he's a puppy, and he doesn't stay a puppy for long, and he's already grown so much. He's like twice as heavy as when we got him. And I mean, for me, like, I see him every day, and so it's so gradual, but then I go to like puppy school, or one of Mikey's carers will see him after like their timetable cycles, and people who just don't see him as often, the vet as well, they're like, oh my god, he's gotten so big, and then I look at a photo of us and I'm like, yep, he's huge. Anyway, so I've been posting a lot of Triton videos, but I think it's not just because he's a puppy. Let me just hide Max's because this isn't so relevant to Max at the moment, but it is relevant to Hope. I think, okay, so my entire life at the moment is basically dog. The only thing I have time for is like uploading videos of dog, which is like what my YouTubing habit is at the moment. But yeah, I'm just like, I get up, I go out. One of my parents will have already let him out of the crate, or maybe one of Mikey's carers will have let him out of the crate. He's super excited to see me. I usually have a toy or something. I don't pat him or even look at him until he sits and is calm. And then I go, hey, you, and pat him, whatever. And then give him breakfast and whatever. Play with him for a bit, have my own breakfast. And then about 8 o'clock he has his first nap for the day, and sometimes I nap. This morning I did nap because I was so tired. Anyway, and then play for a few more hours, have lunch. He's napping now. He's probably getting towards the end of his nap, so we might get an appearance towards the end of this vlog if I ramble for long enough. And if he wonders who the heck are you talking to, although I make a lot of sounds, I sing, I think he's kind of used to it, so we'll see. But yeah, Then he has another nap. Maybe we'll go for a walk at some point. I'm trying to get him to nap more. He naps in here instead of his crate. Oh god, there's so much stuff that I could catch you up on. But like initially, I was letting him stay up there, but I can't trust my parents to be on board with the training program. So once I could trust his toilet training, he hasn't had an accident in about 3 weeks, maybe longer. But now I can trust him. He hasn't peed anywhere. Like, I think when he first went into each room, he peed, and there was one room he peed a couple times in. I think that's because of the rug, though. Never mind, the rug is another story. But now that he's in my bathroom, he's super happy there, and I can just trust him. Like, he knows to go there, and whatever. I'm rambling, but I'm always rambling, except when I'm uploading puppy videos. Yeah, so he's kind of like with me all the time, and I do crate him when I need to go out, like to my psychology appointments, but he's kind of always with me. I think when he was in the crate, and sleeping with, let me just hide Hope because this isn't relevant to Hope. Yeah, when he was in his crate or when he was just like out with a family and up to mischief, I think he wasn't getting enough sleep. Like when we first got him, he would crash and he would just sleep anywhere. But our house is really noisy, which is part of why I can never get enough sleep. And I think that's starting to affect his ability to nap. And puppies need their naps because otherwise they get cranky and they don't always know when they're tired. And so then they get more nippy and they don't respond to their training as well. And they don't respond to the little bag of goodies as well. See, my brain is still saying don't say the word treat. Even though he doesn't know the word treat, it's just I'm used to past dogs knowing the word treat. Anyway, yeah, so I'm trying to get him to nap more. And that means when he's napping and he's not up to mischief, I can do stuff like uploading videos, like filming this right now, like checking my email, doing my life admin, seeing what my bank balance is like, because I keep spending so much money on him. I'm going to have to do a budget this year because things are going to get tight, especially when I run out of Medicare psychology, because that has gone up a lot. And I've only got 2 more subsidized sessions left already. It's only May. Oh my god, it's gonna be expensive, but whatever. No, so I mean, I can't trust my parents to keep this dog out of trouble and train him properly. They haven't come to puppy school at all, so I try and tell them, hey, this is what the dog trainer says, this is what all the puppy ebooks I read say. But you know, they're my parents and they don't always listen to me or take my shit seriously. Mum's getting a bit better. Dad is slowly coming around because he's the one who's getting bitten the most. And so I think he's starting to realize maybe he should listen to me. Anyway, no, so I'm spending all my time with this dog pretty much. Like, you know, he's napping. He is getting better at going into my studio, so maybe eventually I can make some music or art, whatever. That's a lot of words to say. Basically, my whole life is dog at the moment, and I'm definitely putting more into caring for him than probably anyone else in his litter, or like just dog owners generally. Helps that I don't do anything with my life. So what else am I going to be doing? My band is going slowly at the moment, and like, you know, there's people being away. Me being like my first month of dog, I was just like, I cannot do band stuff. But also the other members of the band need to sort out their parts. My part's written, so I don't really need to do anything at the moment. So yeah, my life is just entirely dog, like medical appointments. I did go to one art event. If you've been following my Instagram, I think I mentioned it there. But yeah, mostly it's like I wake up, I manage him, I take him for walks. We have gone to interesting places. He helped me buy Mum's Mother's Day Midori. Yes, we went into an alcohol place and yeah, bought some alcohol for Mum, and I didn't get my ID checked for a change. That was exciting because people think that when I bought my wedges, the guy referred to me as a young woman, and I'm like, yeah, I guess, but kind of not really. Technically, am I middle-aged? Is 35 middle-aged? But I know no one knows how old I am. I'm a 400-year-old vampire, or possibly like werecat, I don't know. Yeah, spending all my time with this dog. Wow, it took me 10 minutes to fucking get to that. See, I'm out of practice. And there's so much to cover, though. How can I? Anyway, so my whole life is dog, and I was thinking about it. Why am I so, like, just paying attention to all his needs and trying to make sure everything's going well, trying to train him properly. He knows so many tricks already, and he's only 3 months old. Like, his breeder was amazing, taught him so much stuff, but he's also just like really on top of things. Why am I so obsessive? And I've seen, like, we've got a litter chat. So the breeder set up a chat group for like all the dogs in his litter, all the owners, we can all talk to each other. I'm posting the most because, like, no one else says anything. It's tumbleweed. So I'm like, here, I will spam my photos into the group just like I spam my bullshit onto YouTube. Okay, I'm meant to be talking about hope. Why? Yes, why am I so obsessed with my current dog, Triton, and, like, why am I putting so much into his care? I don't think I have, like, I do have an emotional connection, but it's nowhere near as strong as with Hope. Okay, what I think is going on, I think my focus on him is actually a trauma response to losing Hope. God, what an appropriate name, Hope and losing Hope. But yeah, like, the whole thing with Hope, so, I did that video about what happened with him. I forget what I called it. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm kind of having flashbacks in a way. Like, I don't know that they're full PTSD level flashbacks, but it's like some kind of grief memory thing, and I'm just sort of zone out for a bit and think about all the shit that happened and, like, go through the same, like, it must be a process in grief. I don't know. I go through the same. I keep forgetting to address it with my psychologist as well. I send her notes of things I've been thinking about, but then she asks me about, like, how my morning was, and I completely forget whatever I wanted to talk about. And then it's only after I'm like, oh shit, I should have asked her about the flashbacks. Like, is that what a flashback is? Or is this just like a grief processing memory thing? I don't know. Anyway, no, I keep going through the process of, like, did I do everything right by Hope? And, like, also just thinking about, like, the seizures. It was so sudden, and, if I'm being completely honest, when he had his first seizure, to my brain kind of feels like that is when he passed away. Like, he hadn't, and he was still connecting with me at times, but, like, there were times where he wasn't with it because he was, like, his whole brain had just had this electrical storm, and he was stressed, and then he was medicated. And occasionally, like, there would be moments where he would be himself again, but, I think my brain was preparing itself already, and then, yeah, behavior differences, and there were some times where I feel like Hope just didn't really recognize me because so much was going wrong with his brain. But yeah, so that first seizure and how dramatic it was kind of a shock and traumatic. And that's kind of, yeah, my brain is like, that's kind of when he died, before he actually died. But yeah, so, like, and he had so many medical problems through his life as well. That's another thing. I'm just gonna move my notes over so I can actually see him instead of my notes being in front of him. Oh, poor baby. This is, like, the last healthy photo I ever took of him, I'm pretty sure. Poor baby. How long is it gonna take before I can't stop myself from crying in this vlog? I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, like, it was really traumatic. And I already have issues with seizures because Mikey, my disabled brother, he's got epilepsy. So, like, I learned at a very young age, what do you do when someone has a seizure? Of course, in the Hope, like, I wasn't sure it was a seizure because it presented so differently to when Mikey has it. Like, dogs and humans kind of different, obviously. But yeah, like, and because I wasn't sure it was a seizure, I wasn't sure if he was going to die, like, right there in front of me until the seizure finally stopped. And it was kind of long. Like, not as long as, like, I think it was, like, if it's 5 minutes, you call an ambulance. I think it was, like, 1 to 2 minutes, although it's hard to know because, like, I had enough going on in my brain to be like, to tell Dad, film this so we could show a vet, because he had so many medical issues that I just was in that habit. If I see something weird going on, film it, document it, so that you can show the vet, because by the time he gets to the vet, it's probably not going to be a thing. But yeah, no, so it's not just like that final series of seizures and, like, the whole medical thing, getting him stable, getting him on medication so that we could get him up to a nice euthanasia. It's like his whole life he was having medical issues. So there was a lot of, like, ongoing trauma and ongoing anxiety, And I think there's also like part of my brain that feels a little bit of guilt in a way, even though I know it's not a thing. But in the lead up before he had his first seizure, like I was having thoughts in my brain like, he's so healthy at the moment. He could live for a while, like a long while. He could live for years longer. How am I going to manage my life with him? Because I was trying to get into the makeup stuff and trying to get more out and about. And I was doing, that was when my band was in the early stages. So I actually did have a lot of band stuff to do, I think. And so I was sort of thinking about the future, like if this band gets going, how am I going to manage him? Because when I leave the house, he gets anxious, and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, he's so healthy. But then I was also thinking on the anxiety side of things, I was like, shit, but he always seems really healthy. And then all of a sudden something will happen. And he could live for another 5 years, or he could die tomorrow. Like I was going through, even before he had all that, I was going through that fairly often. And, sometimes I was also like, if he's going to have a major event, like it had been a while, I think, since his last one. And I'm like, it's going to happen. And, can we just get it over with in a way? And so I think there's a little bit of my brain going like, did I not appreciate him enough to the end? But I think I did. I think it's just like, because it's so traumatic, like I keep second guessing. But I took such good care of him, and to get him to this, like, look how happy he is in this photo. And he was so, like, the healthiest he'd ever been in his life, because I figured out all of his issues, and the only thing I couldn't fix was his brain. And, then I go through the medical decisions, like, should I have tried to keep him alive? But then I think about all the things that I probably already said about it not being worth it. And I also found out later, I don't know if I talked about this, but, I have a friend who's a vet, and I was also watching some dog training podcast, and people in the comments of the podcast, that particular podcast was about dog euthanasia, and in the comments people were saying like how their dog had some kind of neurological issue and they put it in for an MRI and it actually died during the MRI. And MRI is what they wanted to do to Hope. And I was just noticing like a lot of them were brain issues who were getting those scans and dying during the scan. And I asked my friend like, hey, I noticed this, is this a thing? And she said, yeah, anesthetic and all that is actually pretty risky for dogs with neurological conditions or something like that. I forget the exact explanation, but she said yes. And so when I think about it, I'm like, he could have died getting those tests and then we wouldn't have been able to have that really nice send-off. Okay, so we got up to the point of Hope's send-off. Now, why was I so determined to make sure Hope had a good end of life? Obviously, I'm pro-euthanasia, like, for humans as well. I'm not someone who likes existing in this world. I don't want to be here, but I also don't want to have a bad death. So I'm still here because there are no good options for me. But for him, I was able to give him the best send-off. He was, surrounded by people he loved and had his meatballs and whipped cream, and I'm trying not to cry. Anyway, no, like, and he was my soul dog. I think it might have been a bit of a trauma bond because I had been going through some serious depression on and off while he was alive, and he had been going through his medical issues, and we really had to look after each other. But also he was so intelligent and he really connected with me. And I feel like Triton hasn't quite got to that stage yet. Like, Triton loves me. I'm his favorite person. But there's still, like, not what I had with Hope. Maybe that'll come in time, but I don't know, Hope was special. Like, the moment he came home, we had a really strong thing going on. Whereas with Triton, it's different, but he's a very different dog. Anyway, I don't want to bring Triton down. I'm just saying, like, he's my soul dog. I don't really believe in souls, but, like, in the way that we connected, it was super, like, the strongest connection I've ever had with another living being of any species. Okay. So yes, he was my soul dog. I wanted him to be comfortable, and I was really conscious of his anxiety issues, and I just wanted to, not have his last moments be stressful. Okay. But also, let's bring Max back into it, my first little dog. I think some of my obsession, like, I had been planning for years in the back of my mind, I want Hope to go at home. I don't want him to be put down at the vet because, he doesn't like the vet. He's super anxious there. And, I want him to be comfortable. I want it to be special. I want him to just It's supposed to be euthanasia. It means good death, not scary or anything. I don't want him to have to be sedated and drugged just to get to the vet or whatever. So yeah, Hope had an at-home euthanasia, and it was amazing. I think like I'm never going to do it at a vet again, because that company, the vet they sent, she was amazing. She knew exactly what to do, and it was so much nicer. Like, the vet has always done a really good job, but it was so much nicer. But I also think some of my obsession, at least a tiny fraction of my obsession with making sure Hope had the best send-off ever, ties back to some of my trauma about losing Max. Okay, so Max is the first dog that we ever said goodbye to. He wasn't the first dog we had. We got Ali first, and then he came through the fence. But he's the first one to pass away. And I wasn't there. That's the only one that I wasn't there for. Now, at the time, I was living with my ex, which was quite a distance from here. And, I didn't really have good visibility of... Like, I think I came back every weekend, or almost every weekend. But, you don't really see what's going on. And he had been declining for a long time. Like, Mum even had she had these little baby nappies, and she cut the little tail hole for him because he was incontinent. And he had skin issues by then. We probably pushed it too far. Yeah, but, the moment Mum made the decision is when he couldn't get up to get his water. And so, she took him to the vet. I think Mikey went along, and we don't know how... like what Mikey really understood, but apparently he knew something was, very sad, and he was very quiet. But yeah, just, I was not anywhere near this house to be able to, like, I don't think I even knew, I don't know if I knew that he was going to be put down. But he was, and I wasn't there for it. And, this poor little thing, when we got him, because he'd been living with a cat breeder, he didn't know how to woof. He would just sort of awkwardly I won't make the noise because that might wake Triton up, but he would awkwardly make meowing kind of sounds. And Ali taught him to bark, and I taught him to howl, and he got really good at howling. If you look it up on my channel, Max Howling, I think you might find, or like, Howling Wolf or something. There should be videos of him howling. But yeah, and like, he didn't want his feet to be touched because, these guys... they just left him outside and didn't cuddle him enough. And so, like, I actually did a lot to make him feel happy being touched. I did it a little bit because I thought I was young, and I was like, isn't it funny that he gets so angry at me touching his feet? But after a while, he realized I wasn't going to hurt him, and it was fine. And so he got comfortable with that. And, I looked after him a lot. Now, it wasn't the strongest bond or anything, but I always felt a little bit of guilt that I wasn't there for him at the end. And so when Ali had to be put down, like, I was at work, and I had to leave work early because I was just so upset knowing that she was going to be put down. So I actually came home early and went to be there when she was put down. And since then, I haven't missed one. Like with Marley, Marley was technically Dave's dog, but he was overseas at the time, and I had to make the decision. I've made a video about that too. And, I even brought items with Dave's smell on it to be in the room with him at the vet. Now, Marley loved the vet, so that was fine. And Ali loved the vet too. Labradors, they're so easy. But yeah, no, I brought that scent so that he could have that in the room. And yeah, and then obviously Hope I've already talked about. But I think all of that kind of, like, now I have to be there. Have to. And I think that stems from my guilt over missing Max's euthanasia. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to talk about with those two dogs. Also, on the topic of soul dogs, I'm pretty sure I set up... I don't know if I've shown you. Like, okay, so... isn't it weird, though, that they're both small white dogs with the same birthday, even though they're years apart? Anyway, that's the thing. Max... So, Hope was born in 2012. Max... So Ali was born in 2001. I think he might be 2001 as well, but maybe earlier. I can't quite remember. It's out. We've got he has a pedigree certificate because he's a purebred dog. His previous owner gave it to us. So we've actually got that on the wall. I'm sorry, Max, I can't remember exactly what year you were born, but I'm pretty sure you were older than Ali. Anyway, no, so that is definitely more than a decade between them. Same birthday. Total coincidence. There's a lot of things like with Hope's passing that are coincidences. I think I was going to talk about that in a separate video about Triton because we're already past 20 minutes, so I won't do it on this one. But yeah, and they're both white dogs. Different patterns, very different fur. Max had that like constantly growing fur, and his previous owner did take him to a groomer, so he looked like really pretty. But then we never took him to a groomer. We've never used a groomer, and so that's after we've trimmed his fur and yeah, like he looks pretty scruffy, but and he's very delicate kind of dog. Whereas Hope, his fur just came up naturally, and I would brush him, and he's such a fluffy tail. Whereas Max, we had kind of cut his tail short because like it's kind of hard to. I don't know, we were no good at it. Anyway, fluffy, and he had really strong leg muscles, and he was actually quite well built in that respect. So probably a tougher dog physically. Psychologically maybe not so much. Very different personalities, but they did have similar kinds of patterns. I think they both maybe had. Did Max have the spot on his back? Yeah, pretty sure. Hope had a spot on his back. But yeah, I just want to also show you, like, so with Hope's picture here, that's his last healthy photo, and you can see the eyes are really faded. Let me show you. Oh, I can probably show this over Max. Sorry, Max. Okay, so Hope, being a rescue dog, he didn't have a pedigree certificate, so I kind of made my own. I don't know if I ever showed you this, but it's got photos of when he was a baby. These are the photos that the animal rescue used to advertise him, and then these are the ones that I took, and that's the Animal Rescue's logo. They don't have a website at the moment, but they did post something on Facebook after many years of like nothing, so I didn't even know they were still a thing. When I donated Hope's stuff to a rescue shelter, it wasn't this one because I didn't even know that they were still a thing. So yeah, I've asked them but they've only posted the one thing and then nothing else. Anyway, so that's what Hope used to look like, and you can see like he used to have a lot of color around his eyes. Isn't it interesting how that faded over time? I kind of prefer how he looked towards the end because like it really makes his eyes pop out more instead of his eyes sort of fading into his head more. But yeah, no, I thought I'd show you this. I have redacted some details, just because, like, I don't know what's important. It's probably, I mean, one of them was my address, so I'm not going to just pop that on the internet everywhere. But also his microchip number, I don't know if that's relevant. I mean, it is connected to me and my address, I think, so I've just taken that out. But otherwise, I've printed that out and I put it in a little nice certificate. I think I made a blue version as well, so that it looks more like the proper pedigree certificates, but I just thought the white one, I don't know, it was late last night when I was setting up this OBS, so anyway, that's the thing that I did, because I'm a nutcase, and like, yeah, I made my own thing. I didn't make one for Marley, because he wasn't my dog. Yeah, anyway, that's how Hope changed over time. Anyway, so, we're about halfway through Okay, I have a few more things to say that are less relevant to Hope and Max, but happy birthday to my past dogs. Trying not to be too sad, but it is sad, especially Hope. I am wearing this. I might light his candle later, but I don't know. And I've also got the candle still that my godmother gave me when he passed away. Haven't completely burnt it yet, but I don't know that I want to burn it around Triton, because like I know some smells can be really harsh for dogs and some are actually dangerous. I don't think that one is, but it just might be a bit much for him, at least in an enclosed space. Anyway, no, moving on. So a few more things I want to talk about. Let's make this a long vlog because I do have a lot more Triton videos coming. Anyway, no. So caring for Triton, I just want to mention, like, I think I've been dissociating a lot, like, especially when he first came home. I was having a lot of derealization because it's such a change to my life. Like, he is so different to Hope, and what I have to do has been so different. Like, my life has changed, and I mean, like, there's good things because after Hope, I didn't go out for walks. Because, like, why bother? I tried to go his route, but I just couldn't motivate myself. Without, like, the little fluff ball telling me to go, I just couldn't do it. Whereas now with Triton, I mean, it took a while for him to be safe to go out. I waited until like after his first vaccination. I mean, actually, after his first vaccination, sorry, he had his first vaccination with the breeder. So the first vaccination with me was his second. I did start taking him out a little bit, but I was very careful about where I took him and whether or not he was able to talk to dogs. My area is pretty safe in terms of dog vaccination, though, and so a week after his second vaccination, I let him meet more random dogs in the street, but no dog parks, and he's got his final puppy vaccination next week, and then the week after that he should be fine like everywhere. But no, we've been going for walks since whenever, and it took him a while to even understand, like, why are you putting these collars and harnesses and lead on me, but now he sort of gets, oh, I get to go and smell things, isn't that fun, and get to see things, and people give me treats at the vet, and people give me treats at the shops. I've taken him to shops, as I said. I took him to go and buy alcohol, also went into a shop that sells, like, smelly soaps or something, because they had a bowl out the front, which generally means a business is dog friendly, but then he wanted to go in, and when I asked the shopkeeper, she's like, yes, let me get some treats. So he had treats there. Anyway, so I'm getting out and about more. Also, when I first got him, before he was able to walk, we drove to Bunnings twice, and that's how he got his sand pit, because he was starting to dig in the yard, so I got him a sand pit. I think the first time I took him just because I needed a light bulb. But Bunnings has dog toys now, so I let him smell them, and then the one he liked the most I bought for him. But they say take your puppy to Bunnings because it's good for socialization. Socialization doesn't mean being social. I think in the dog world it should be, there was someone arguing it should be called neutralization. So you get them around like weird smells and sounds and sights and noises. Sounds and noises are the same thing. Get them to meet lots of different people, and so Bunnings is really good for that because there's a lot going on. There's the garden section that smells a particular way, there's like wooden things, there's people. It's really good for the dogs, and so I put him in the trolley, and I got his little mat in there. I don't think I put out any public photos of that. But yeah, no, we went to Bunnings, which means I had to drive there twice. And I've had to do more driving because, especially before his vaccination, and he still can't walk for really long times. He gets tired, I can tell. So I drive him to the vet, even though it's not actually that far. And that's where his puppy school is, although he goes to a different puppy school, like same company, but a different location sometimes. And so I've been driving. I have been driving again. I think since Hope passed, I maybe drove once to Bandprac, or was that when Hope was still... No, that was... Yeah, it was after Hope passed. I drove once to Bandprac, and I think that's about it. Whereas since getting Triton, I'm driving at least once a week. And get this, despite no practice, and never being good at this, I am pulling off perfect reverse parallel parks. What the heck? This happens to me a lot, is I won't practice a skill for a while, and then all of a sudden I'll try it again, and I will be amazing at it, and just be like, where did that come from? Have I been practicing in my sleep? It doesn't make sense, because sometimes also I will practice something, and the more I practice, the worse I feel I'm getting, but then I take a break, and suddenly everything's good, and it's like, did my brain just absorb it, or was I overthinking it when I was practicing too much? I have no idea. But also, when I'm parking, I have this weird experience where consciously, my conscious mind is looking at that space and going, there's no way you're going to pull off this park. And then my body is just like, nope, it's fine, and we're in. I'm just like, how? How did this... Anyway, so, that's not helping with my feelings of dissociation. The derealization is about my situation, my life has changed a lot. And every day is just centered around this dog. And maybe occasionally I'll go out somewhere. Usually just for medical appointments though. And I'll crate him for that and I won't even be gone that long. Otherwise it's just all dog and him snoozing at the moment. So this is my time to be free, but actually I'm in my room because he sleeps in there. I'm going to try and get him to sleep in my studio at some point, but it's not as nice as the tiled floor in the bathroom. I don't know, I have to bring his cooling mat in, or I'll figure it out. But yeah, my whole life has changed, and I'm sort of when is it going to change back? I don't think it is, because this is my new life, and I've got to figure out how to gradually adjust it so that I can do more of the stuff that my brain is itching to do. And then, yeah, depersonalization, because then I have those things where I'm thinking, like, I can't pull off this reverse park, and then I will just do it, and then I'll be surprised. I'll be like, how? How am I doing this? I don't understand. Yeah, and there's other things probably I'm too tired to think about. I've been talking for too long, but that's the thing that's happening. But yeah, no, and I think some of the dissociation is getting a bit weird now because I haven't been able to do much of my own life. And I think I'm also in autopilot a lot, is another thing. And so, like, my brain wants to break out of autopilot in some ways, but also not, because autopilot is easy. But then I'm like, I should make some music, or I should do some art, or I should do some proper YouTube. And it's really hard to break out of just dog mode and, like, looking up more dog treats and shit. I've got to decide whether or not to keep his vet insurance, his pet insurance, whatever. Oh no, and then I get bogged down looking into dog chews. It's so hard to think about anything. And I think also yesterday in my psychology appointment, there was a moment where my brain switched gears as well, and I couldn't really remember what I'd just been thinking about and talking about. And I think my body language changed, and I looked down at my hands, and it just, like, everything, my body just looked weird and different. But I was also hungry, and I had mentioned that to my psychologist, and so we're like, maybe it's just lightheadedness from being too hungry, because I hadn't had enough chance to eat before I got there. But that was a bit of a thing. And then later, even after I had eaten, I did start to get a bit of more, like, destroyer-ish dissociation things, although it seems to, I don't know, if I think about it too much, it might be. I think it's because I don't remember what my psychologist said. I don't know if she used this word, but the word stuck in my brain is feeling restricted, and I think that might have triggered a bit of the, like, I gotta get up to no good kind of vibes. Anyway, so dissociation, big part of my experience at the moment, because I'm just like, what even is my life? And it also, because I don't do anything with my life, and I don't have any responsibilities apart from him, there is no normal for me anymore, and so this is my new normal, and I'm like, what did I used to do? I don't even remember. What am I trying to do with my life? And also, I still have the existential crap going on, so why am I even alive? I have had some breakdowns. I've had 2 breakdowns. The first breakdown since I got him, issues with my parents, but also, and that led to me stepping on some dog poo and not realizing, and then having to clean it up, and I just kind of, like, I was exhausted from dealing with him, especially early on. When we first brought him home, I slept next to his crate, and then the next day I slept in my room half the night, and then the second half of the night I took him out for a pee and then slept next to him, and so I was exhausted around then. And yeah, one night, trying to put him away, put him in his crate, and then realizing I had to clean up all this dog poo everywhere, I had a really bad breakdown with, like, really bad crying, and he kind of just knew that something was wrong, so I let him back out of the crate, and he crawled into my lap and was, like, trying to cheer me up. He's like, what's wrong? And, like, pat me, and he had his mouth over my arm, like, I'm here. I don't know, he probably shouldn't be trying to bite me like that, but it was actually kind of comforting, and so he, like, helped me come out of that breakdown. And then there was another morning where I was really tired and I had a bit of a breakdown, except he was a little bit too nippy, so I had to push him off me, because, like, he did the same kind of thing, but then he was trying to nip me too much, and I just had to be like, and sort of try and teach him to lick me instead, which he's getting better at. Anyway, no, mostly, yeah, my life, a lot of dissociation, and then occasionally I'll have a breakdown. And just remember that I hate life and I don't know what I'm doing, and I have the existential angst and why am I alive. But yeah, mostly the dissociation, I think, is just getting me through stuff. But speaking of, and with the autopilot, and what's going on with my channel is not turning into a dog channel. Just so you know, here I am. Yes, I talked about dogs, but it's still me here. It's just, like, at the moment, that's the easiest thing for me. And I know my channel goes through phases. I mean, we just go through the makeup phase, and now we're in the dog phase, the puppy phase. And who knows what's gonna be next? I don't know. I never know what's gonna happen next with my fucking channel. But yeah, no, I think what's going on with all the videos, like, I don't have to upload every single video of him. but that's what I'm doing. And I think it's part of my autopilot because I'm like, yeah, I should make some videos, but it's hard for me to organize them because I'm too busy managing him. And just like getting myself back into a YouTube state of mind. Like for the first month, I almost didn't post any videos, and that's why I'm catching up now. And if you notice, if you look at my Triton videos and you go into the description, I'm saying when I filmed them so that you know how far behind I am. I think last night I finally uploaded the last video from April, so now we've caught up to May, and I have been filming less, so hopefully we'll catch up, and then maybe I'll make some different videos. But for the moment, and I've actually scheduled a lot more videos, so probably the rest of this month will just be dog videos. I have been speeding up, you know, some things I filmed all on the same day, or they're really short, or they're shorts, and so I post more than one in a day. But yeah, no, there's a lot coming up. But I think that's part of like the dissociation, but also like needing to decompress. So I'll have just been like managing him, trying to stop him from eating my bonsai and all this kind of stuff, and trying to stop him from chasing Mikey too much or nipping Dad. You know, I'm having to manage so much stuff. And then I'll come and sit down and maybe I'll watch a YouTube video or something, but then I'm like, I feel like I need to do something. And so my way of my brain feeling productive without expending too much energy is to just upload those dog videos. And they're so easy because I don't have to sit there going, did I swear in this video? I know I sweared in this video, but I have to like tick boxes with YouTube saying, did I swear? Does anyone get hurt in this video? Is there anything controversial in this video? And I have to be like, oh shit. So with my regular videos, if I don't remember what I said, I have to watch my videos to be able to tick them off. Whereas with these dog videos, most of the time it's just him playing or doing something. I hardly say anything. They're very short, so it's very easy to upload them, get them done. And it's very process driven. I don't have to think much about it. I don't even have to think much about tags, which I obsessively fill out, even though I know they're not that important these days, because I can just copy and paste so many and then just put a few extras in the end. I don't have to put much effort into any of the metadata, so that helps. I don't have to wait forever for things to upload. Even when I edit, I got a new computer and it's really fast. But even those, like, they're short videos, I will tell you about this whole computer thing. I think that's another thing that got in the way of me making proper YouTube videos. And also, that's one of the things that delayed a lot of Triton's videos, actually, now that I think of it, because I was transitioning from one computer to another. And that was a process, and Dell does not look good at the end of this, really. Like, they saved the situation, but I will not recommend them anymore. But that's a story for another day, because we're almost at 45 minutes. Anyway, so for those of you who are like, why are you posting all this stuff? I'm sorry, there will be more puppy videos. For at least, I think I've scheduled them through to 20th of May. That's when we finish the April videos. And then I'm not sure how many, I've closed the folder, but there are May videos coming up. But then hopefully we'll catch up to the present with those, and then I can start, maybe my brain then will be able to move on. Because like part of the autopilot is, and also I'm a completionist, so my brain is like, I have to keep finishing uploading them. I already started the playlist, I need to get them all done. So yeah, there's more puppy videos coming. But I haven't forgotten you, those of you who are like, a lot of people are still watching my very first Schizoid video. I can see it in my analytics. Where is all my traffic coming from? Where are all my subscribers coming from? They want Schizoid stuff. And I'm like, oh, I don't really have anything to say because I'm too busy with this damn dog. And he's making me more social. And it's weird, like I think, back on the topic of dissociation, like watching myself and how I am in puppy class, and I'm just like, I'm so talkative. What the why do I feel like I need to say all this stuff? Is it because like I've already taught him things and I want to show off like how good I am and how good my dog is? Is it like some narcissistic thing coming out? Is it because I haven't been on YouTube spreading my narcissism onto the... I don't know. And I think I'm starting to dissociate watching myself make this video as well. So maybe I should leave it there. But yeah, my brain is going through weird things, trying to deal with things. I can't believe he's still asleep. Are we not going to get an appearance from him? Should I lure him out so that you can see him at the end and how big he is? Yeah, anyway. So, happy birthday to Hope. If you've looked at some of the video descriptions for Triton's videos, but also his playlist in the description, you might have noticed his pedigree name is Oracle Hope for Atlantis. That is in honor of Hope. They were going to call him Oracle Atlantis. Oracle is his breeder name, and then Atlantis would be like, you know, Oracle's the prefix, and then Atlantis would be his pedigree name. But I got in just in time to be like, hey, and I'll talk about like some of why I insisted. But I asked them, could you put Hope in his pedigree name? And so they changed it to Oracle Hope for Atlantis. And so now, at least, Hope is sort of part of Triton's thing. And I think that helped me also connect better with Triton, because a piece of Hope is now part of him in a way. Now there's a lot of coincidences, and I will hopefully make a video of that before I forget everything. But yeah, no, like, occasionally things have been difficult, and I've been like, oh my god, this dog, did I make the right decision getting him? But yeah, having a piece of Hope in there, that really helps. Shall I go and get the little critter? I don't know, why? Because he is about due to get up for a wee. So, do you want to see my dog? Oh, he's fast asleep. He's zonked. I'm gonna leave him alone. Anyway, until next time, the next lot of videos is just gonna be dog stuff, so see you later.